Have you ever found yourself caught in a whirlwind of stress, tossed about by things outside your control? Picture this. You're driving, already late for an important meeting, and suddenly you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and frustration bubbles up inside you like a shaken soda bottle. Or maybe it's a different scenario. Perhaps you're scrolling through social media, feeling a pang of envy as you see everyone else's seemingly perfect lives. You start to question your own path, your own accomplishments. These feelings, they're as much a part of the human experience as breathing. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all wrestled with these moments when life throws us a curveball. Moments when we feel overwhelmed, anxious, and just plain out of control. And most of us seek a way to deal with those feelings, with this chaos, without being completely knocked off balance. Well, what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy, a way of thinking, that offers a powerful toolkit for navigating these very challenges? A philosophy that can help you cultivate inner peace, build resilience, and live a more fulfilling life, no matter what storms may rage around you. That philosophy is Stoicism. Now, the word stoic might conjure up images of a person who is completely emotionless, someone who represses their feelings and goes through life with a stiff upper lip. But that's a major misconception. The truth about Stoicism is far richer, far more nuanced, and far more relevant to our modern lives than you might imagine. It is not about suppressing emotions. It is about understanding them, mastering them, and choosing how we respond to them. It's about recognizing that while we can't always control what happens to us, we always have control over our own thoughts and actions. This core idea, this distinction between what we can and cannot control, is the bedrock upon which the entire Stoic philosophy is built. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a ship's captain. You can't control the weather, the currents, or the vastness of the ocean. Those are all external factors, things outside your direct influence, but what can you control? You can control the ship's sails, the rudder, your navigation, your crew's actions, and your own reactions to the ever-changing conditions. You can learn to read the weather patterns, to adapt your course, and to make the best decisions possible with the information you have. The Stoics believe that our lives are very much like this voyage. We are all captains of our own ships, navigating the unpredictable seas of existence. And just like a skilled captain, we can learn to navigate the challenges that come our way by focusing on what we can control, our own inner world. Now, Stoicism wasn't born overnight. It emerged in ancient Greece, around the 3rd century before the Common Era, founded by a man named Zeno of Citium. He began teaching in a public colonnade in Athens, a place called the Stoa Poikile, which is where the name Stoicism comes from. The philosophy quickly gained popularity, spreading throughout the Greek and Roman worlds. And it wasn't just for academics or philosophers in ivory towers. Stoicism was embraced by people from all walks of life, from slaves to emperors. In fact, some of the most influential Stoic thinkers were from vastly different backgrounds. We have Epictetus, who was born a slave and later became a renowned teacher. His teachings, preserved by his student Arian, emphasize the power of our inner freedom, regardless of external circumstances. His words are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. There is also Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, who ruled from 161 to 180 of the Common Era, and who used Stoic principles to guide him through the immense responsibilities and challenges of his position. His personal journal, known to us as Meditations, is a profound reflection on Stoic ideals and a practical guide to living a virtuous life. And then we have Seneca, a playwright, statesman, and advisor to Emperor Nero. Seneca's letters and essays offer practical advice on dealing with grief, anger, and the pursuit of a meaningful life. These three figures, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca, are considered the pillars of Roman Stoicism, and their writings continue to inspire and guide people today. So what are these core principles that have resonated with people for over 2,000 years? One of the fundamental ideas in Stoicism, maybe the most important one, is the dichotomy of control, which is this distinction between what is within our power and what is not. The Stoics believed that true freedom and tranquility come from focusing our energy on the things we can control, primarily our own thoughts, judgments, and actions, and accepting with grace the things we cannot control, like the weather, other people's opinions, and the past. This might sound simple, but it's profoundly transformative when you truly apply it to your daily life. Think about the traffic jam example. You can't control the traffic, but you can control your reaction to it. You can choose to let it ruin your day, or you can choose to use the time to listen to a podcast, practice deep breathing, or simply accept that you're going to be a little late and there's nothing you can do about it. This acceptance, this recognition of the limits of your control is not passive resignation. It's an active choice, a conscious decision to focus your energy where it can actually make a difference. And then there's the concept of virtue. For the Stoics, virtue was not just some abstract moral ideal. It was the key to living a good life, a life of eudaimonia, which is often translated as flourishing or living well. The four cardinal virtues in Stoicism are wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Wisdom is the ability to make sound judgments, to see things as they truly are, and to understand the nature of the world. Justice is about fairness, honesty, and treating others with respect. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act rightly in the face of fear. It's about facing challenges head-on, with resilience and determination. And temperance is about moderation, self-control, and balance in all things. Now, these virtues weren't meant to be just theoretical concepts. The Stoics believed in putting them into practice, in living them out in our daily lives. They saw virtue as something to be cultivated, like a muscle that gets stronger with exercise. And the way to cultivate virtue is through reason. Reason, for the Stoics, was not just about cold, hard logic. It was about using our minds to understand the world, to make wise choices, and to live in accordance with nature. And that includes our own human nature. It is about examining our emotions, understanding their root causes, and choosing how we respond to them. Let me ask you something. Have you ever overreacted to a situation only to regret it later? We all have. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic and you responded with a burst of anger, honking your horn and yelling. Or maybe a friend made a thoughtless comment and you lashed out, saying things you didn't mean. These are examples of our emotions getting the better of us. The Stoics believed that while emotions are natural, they shouldn't dictate our actions. They saw emotions as arising from our judgments about events, not from the events themselves. For example, if someone insults you, it's not the insult itself that causes you pain, but your judgment about the insult. If you judge it to be a terrible thing, you'll likely feel angry and hurt. But if you judge it to be insignificant, the opinion of someone whose judgment you don't value, you're less likely to be upset. So how do we put all of this into practice? How do we actually use Stoic principles in our daily lives? One powerful technique is to ask yourself in any given situation, what would a wise Stoic do? Imagine you have a wise, insightful mentor, someone who embodies the Stoic virtues. When faced with a challenge, a difficult decision, or an emotional upheaval, you can pause and ask yourself, how would this person handle this situation? What would their advice be? This simple question can help you step back from your immediate emotional reactions and consider a more rational, virtuous course of action. For example, let's say you're passed over for a promotion at work. It's natural to feel disappointed, even angry or resentful. But a Stoic would remind you that external things like promotions are not entirely within your control. What is within your control is your work ethic, your attitude, and your commitment to doing your best. So, instead of dwelling on the disappointment, you could focus on how you can continue to improve your skills, contribute to your team, and strive for excellence in your current role. Another helpful practice is what the Stoics called negative visualization. Now, this might sound a bit morbid, but it's actually a powerful tool for cultivating gratitude and resilience. It involves taking some time to contemplate the things you value most, your loved ones, your health, your opportunities, and then imagining what it would be like to lose them. This isn't about dwelling on negative thoughts or living in fear. It's about appreciating what you have while you have it. By acknowledging the impermanence of all things, You can develop a deeper appreciation for the present moment and a greater sense of detachment from external things that are ultimately beyond your control. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how can I possibly control my emotions all the time? It's just not realistic. And you're right. Stoicism is not about becoming a robot, devoid of all feelings. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about acknowledging them, understanding them, and choosing how you respond to them. Think of your emotions like waves in the ocean. You can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf. You can learn to ride the waves of your emotions without being capsized by them. And that's where the real power of Stoicism lies, in this ability to find peace amidst the chaos, to cultivate resilience in the face of adversity, and to live a more meaningful life by focusing on what truly matters. It is about recognizing that true happiness, that eudaimonia we've been talking about, doesn't come from external things like wealth, fame, or status. It comes from within, from the cultivation of virtue, from living a life of purpose and meaning, aligned with nature and reason. It comes from accepting what we cannot change and focusing our energy on what we can. It is a philosophy that is as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, filled with distractions and uncertainties, Stoicism offers a roadmap for navigating the complexities of modern life with greater clarity, purpose, and peace of mind. It's a reminder that we have the power within ourselves to choose our responses, to shape our character, and to create a life of meaning, regardless of external circumstances. You might be facing challenges in your career, your relationships, your personal life. You might be struggling with anxiety, stress, or uncertainty about the future. Whatever your circumstances may be, the principles of Stoicism can offer you a framework for navigating those challenges with greater resilience and inner peace. It all starts with a simple shift in perspective, a willingness to examine your own thoughts and judgments, to question your assumptions, and to focus on what you can control. It is a journey of self-discovery, a path towards a more fulfilling and meaningful life, and it is a journey that is open to everyone, regardless of their background, their beliefs, or their current circumstances. So, as you go about your day-to-day, I invite you to reflect on the principles we've discussed. Ask yourself, what is truly within my control? How can I cultivate virtue in my daily life? What would a wise Stoic do in this situation? Start small. Choose one area where you want to apply these principles. Maybe it's your morning commute. Maybe it's a difficult conversation you need to have. Maybe it's simply taking a few moments each day to practice mindfulness and gratitude. The key is to start somewhere, to take that first step on the path toward a more stoic way of life. And remember, this is a lifelong practice, not a quick fix. There will be times when you stumble, when you fall back into old patterns of thought and behavior. That's okay, it's part of the process. The important thing is to keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to live in accordance with your highest values. Because ultimately, Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. It's a path towards inner peace, resilience, and a more meaningful existence. And that is a journey well worth taking. A journey that, when truly embraced, leads you to a profound understanding that the greatest power you possess resides not in controlling the world around you, but in mastering yourself. The true measure of your strength lies not in the absence of challenges, but in your capacity to face them with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This is the essence of Stoicism. This is the path to a life well lived.